In its first year on shelves, any video game console is really only as good as its best exclusive system seller, and to the public, the Switch 2 has been lacking that until now. Over its launch weekend, it's become incredibly clear that Pokémon Pokopia is now the premier reason to own a Nintendo Switch 2. Sure, Mario Kart World is fun, but plenty of people still like 8. Donkey Kong Bonanza is a great game, but it's no 3D Mario. But I know you, specifically you, are sitting there wondering, should I buy a Nintendo Switch 2 for Pokémon Pokopia? Let's talk about it. So first up, is it that good? Is it really as good as everybody's saying it is? It's sitting at an 88 on OpenCritic right now. 93% of critics are recommending the game. I've spent 8 hours with the game so far. And yeah, it is deserving of all the praise, all the hype. The best reviewed Pokemon spinoff, the best reviewed Pokemon game. Listen, it's a different appeal than the mainline RPG series, but the quality is absolutely there. Again, only 8 hours in, I already feel it's justified its price for me personally. And while it is guided out the gate and 8 hours in, I'm still learning new things and getting new tools, it does let you have free reign in terms of where you want to put your focus and how you want to style things. And they encourage you to do that because there's so much to uncover story-wise in the world. It has this wrapping of a very kind of sad, somber, melancholic story. You're in this Pokemon world as Ditto and you meet Professor Tangrowth, and you really have no idea what happened to all the humans there. And Resident Evil Last of Us style, you kind of find pieces of lore as you explore the region that have haunting commentary about the human spirit and life in the Pokemon world that is hitting me in my core in a way that I did not expect. So all of the speculation and atmosphere that people were garnering from those previews of, hey, it seems like there's something a little strange going on in this world, it is absolutely true, and it is much more present than I was expecting. And it does seem to be justifying itself as a Switch 2 exclusive. As somebody who did play a little bit of Dragon Quest Builders 2 on my Nintendo Switch, even popping into the demo on Switch 2, it is leaves a lot to be desired. Technically, this game is running laps around it in terms of performance, frame rate, visual quality. It is a very nice looking game that really pushes the Switch 2 as a new generation of console. And if you've spent any time on social media the weekend of Pokemon Pokopia's launch, you would see it is very clear that the charm, the visual fidelity is pushing people to upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2. Which brings us to the question of, is it worth actually buying a Switch 2 for this game by itself? Clearly, I'm a fan of the game already, and much like everybody who's playing it and talking about it online right now, it's going to easily be one of my favorite games of the year. It already is up there next to a Resident Evil Requiem, and I can see myself putting hundreds of hours into this game. So if you're just looking for bang for your buck in terms of things you can really invest time in, honestly, I feel like there's way more reasons to play and invest time in this game over something like an Animal Crossing. So if you can justify it, if you can afford it, I think it is absolutely worth picking up a Nintendo Switch 2 just for this game even. And for the people who have been picking up Switch 2s for this game, I've been tracking some of the sentiment they've had, and it really does seem that the Switch 2 narrative almost had a big pivot after the launch of this game. On two fronts specifically, the idea that the Switch 2 is unnecessary. I have a Switch, why do we need a second Switch? Well, the performance, the draw distance, the amount of stuff going on screen at once, maintaining good image quality and frame rates is enough of a justification to upgrade to a new generation. And the other sentiment that's kind of beginning to shift is this idea that there's nothing to play on Switch 2. Yeah, the year started off a bit slow with something like the update for Animal Crossing New Horizons, leading to Mario Tennis Fever, but now with Pokemon Pokopia probably going to be one of the biggest best-selling games of the year. Anything after this launch, to me, is kind of gravy. We still got a new game from Software hitting Switch this year. We got a new Fire Emblem, and who knows what Nintendo has in store for the back half, the holiday season on Switch 2. Now, I've felt this way since the launch of Nintendo Switch 2 as somebody who was there day one, but in my opinion, especially when buying a new console, if you find a reason that you want to get it, you should just follow that reason, follow that drive, take the internet doomer mentality with a grain of salt. a pretty large one, because the Switch 2 at this point has great games. On top of now getting this new addition to the Switch 2 library in a cozy crafting adventure, the best reviewed Pokemon game ever, with tons of dense systems and so much charm and personality, the Switch 2 also will provide a lot for people who are already existing Nintendo Switch owners. I'll stick to Pokemon and crafting stuff because it seems like that is the audience who are in the market to buy a Switch 2 right now with this new game, but there are tons of benefits, many of them free, for existing Switch owners to upgrade to Nintendo Switch 2. Specifically with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are actually playable on Nintendo Switch 2 compared to that original release. And similarly, Pokemon Legends ZA I think looks more than solid on Switch 2. The upgrade to the Switch 2 edition gives you a stable 60 FPS. We know next year Pokemon Winds and Waves looks incredible, and that's going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, so if you are a Pokemon fan, you will have to upgrade eventually. And for the cozy crafting fans, while you may want to upgrade to a Switch 2 for Pokémon Pokopia, Animal Crossing New Horizons also gets a bit of a bump on Switch 2. A $5 upgrade gets you much better loading times, again better image quality, and a mouse mode functionality to make the act of crafting and decorating a lot more tolerable. So in my opinion, if you are at all interested in Pokemon Pokopia, it's more than worth upgrading to a Nintendo Switch 2 for, because we know the Switch 2 is going to get many more games. Whenever you find a game a justification to buy a new console generation, to me, that's always the time to pull the trigger. So let us know what you think of Pokemon Pokopia. If you are somebody who bought a Switch 2 specifically for this game, have you been enjoying it so far? And what else are you checking out on the device besides Pokemon Pokopia? But for more on Pokemon Pokopia, the future of the Nintendo Switch 2, and gaming as a whole, be sure to stay tuned right here and over on GameRant.com. For now, thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time.